Hey people, I am continuing with my story. I want to do this little story about my first day on my first job in United States, early 1980. Just landed in New York, coming out of a mountain in El Salvador, totally uh, ignorant about this society, this the way of life here. I live in a mountain in a shack, no running water. I mean, my job in the mountain was to bring water to the house. So I had to do a hike about maybe 4 or 5 miles to go get water. Sometimes I had to go twice a day. And then that's another story anyway. So then I landed in New York, and I remember my brother he had some friends, and he find me he find a friend that said, hey, they might hire him where I work in a bakery, and meet me tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. at the bus station, and I'll take him and maybe get the job. So my brother got up early, and I couldn't sleep. I was terrified. uh, I was terrified that I was going to get lost. I was terrified that I was going to, see people that I didn't know, and it was it was like horrible feeling. So anyway, we got to the bus station with all the buses lined up, and here comes the guy. I've never seen this guy. My brother knew him. His name was Ricardo Guardado, and he's say hi, and oh, this is the kid that I'm taking. Yeah, all right. So this guy, he was a good guy. So my brother left me there with him, and we waiting for the bus that was gonna take us where he worked, and it was like an hour bus drive. So he started explaining to me, just like a little child. He said, "Look, if you don't get the job or they don't keep you today, because most likely they won't." He said, if they give you the job, they're gonna have you come back another day, or I want to tell you that I want you to memorize the way there and the way back, and the bus. Don't get off the bus until the bus gets here, because the bus won't go farther than here, the station, and this is where you're gonna get off. And I'm like, okay. uh, so boom, the bus pulls up, and we get on, and I think then was like a quarter, maybe 30 cents the fare. And this bus starts going and going. So I came up with this idea: start counting bridges that we went under, to memorize how many bridges we went under, like overpass, and to to get back, you know, I start mapping the road in my brain, and that's how my survival started in this country. So we get to to the bus stop where he get off, and the bus route was in the main road, so we had to go some. Uh, we get off there, and he said, "Look, you see this? We got off right on there, another overpass." And he says, "Over here, is right on the other side is where the bus will pick you up going home." And he says, if you don't get the job, you have to come and stand over there, and the bus will stop when they see you, and you get on, and you know how to get back. Okay, so we get to the bakery, which was like 2 blocks away walk, and I'm figuring it out, because I'm not, I don't know if I'm gonna get this job, so I'm learning how to get back to my brother's place, and I get there, and the guy takes me to the boss, to the owner, and the owner look at me, no application, nothing, he just looked at me. He says, "You want to work?" He said it in a broken Spanish. "Quieres trabajar?" And I just, nodded. See. He said, okay, and he's explained to me in a broken Spanish. He said, "I need you here at 6 p.m. tonight." And it's like 7:30, 8 a.m. in the morning. And I'm immediately, my brain went into, thinking, how can I fix this? And I said to him, "Can I stay here until 6 p.m.? He said, "Oh, no. No." He said, "You're going to be too tired because you're going to work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I need you to go rest at home and come back by 6. You got to go home." He pointed at the door. And Ricardo, he's already gone to work. And was a huge bakery, open 24 hours, 24/7. And this town was called Ball String, Long Island. So, and that bakery still exists, Roma Ray Bakery. So I said, well, I gotta go home. So I made it to the, bus stop, and I waited there. Like 45 minutes later, a bus stopped, and I jumped, I got on, and I knew that I hit. It was a hole where you throw the coins. So you throw the coins there. And made it to the bus station. I knew that was it. The bus won't go farther than that. And my brother's place was like 5 blocks away. So, how, I gotta figure it out how to get back. So I figured it out, and a total fear. And I made it back to the building where my brother had an apartment. And I couldn't sleep. I couldn't rest. Worried how I was going to get back, how I was going to make it back to that bakery. And around 2 o'clock, I said, no, I gotta go, because if I get lost, I could get lost maybe like a couple hours and still make it on time to work. So my he's already gone to work, so I'm by myself. So I went to the bus station, and did exactly how the guy told me, and then I was counting the the overpass, the marks that I have made on the road mentally, and I got off on the right bus stop and went to the bakery. It was like 3:30 when I got there, early, maybe 4. And the boss looked at me and says, "What are you doing here?" And I said to him, "Well, I was just afraid I get lost, and I, uh, I want to give myself time to, if I got lost, to get here on time." His mouth dropped, and he looked at me and he says, "You're gonna be a good worker." He said, "Find something to do. Go to him, and he'll tell you what." So my first assignment was to sweep the floor, all the flour the bakers drop, and that was my job. But I was too quick, so they didn't drop enough flour for me to stay busy, and so I'd be standing with the broom waiting. And they use that cornmeal to put on the boards where they lay the bread. And this is something that I learned early. So that cornmeal, I will sweep it, put it in bags, and then I switched it, you know, and they reuse it. They step on it and everything, but those are the secrets that nobody knows about, industries here. So anyway, that was another story. So I made my first day of work, and the next morning, um, I made it home, and I couldn't sleep, worry, and I made it through a week, and I got my first paycheck. I remember this guy handed me this little white envelope, you know, $110. That was my pay, working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And to me, that was $1 million. Never in my life have held so much money in my hands. I I knew then. I said, I made it. I'm going to. I have my own money. I have earned my own money. And that was the beginning of me in this country. Um, I stayed in that job for like 2.5 years. Then I have had an opportunity to go to a better paid job. And everything else is history. So, you know, I understand in El Salvador, if you go look for a job, they ask you how many, if you've been to college, if you are a graduated from, with a degree or college or, bachillerato, they call it. I don't know. It's like, I guess the equivalent of high school here. So, uh, this country is the greatest country in the world. No matter who you are, if you want to better your life, you have the opportunity. And also, if you want to destroy your life, this country will provide everything for you to destroy your life. And I'll continue with my stories. So, I have made I talked to my sons. I have five boys. And I told them that I was going to be telling the story of my life, and they say, "Go for it, but do it in English because we don't understand Spanish." So my five boys, they speak broken Spanish, but you know, and and they're Americans. You know, they're from here. They're not Salvadorians. So if one day they need to learn Spanish, they can learn just like I learn English. So there's no problem. Talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.